So once you will load this, thing, this tidyverse into this session, and you will get this message. So there's something called ggplot2. Okay. So ggplot2 is a separate package. So when we were installing tidyverse, when we were doing the tidyverse, so I told you that it is a collection of some packages. So some features that the base R package do not have, it will just add to, add those features into this the R Studio. Okay. So ggplot is one such package. Okay. It could be installed separately also. So like if I go here in install, and if I type ggplot, okay, so it is a separate package also. Okay, but since we have installed, tidyverse already, we need not to install it again. Okay, we just need to call the tidyverse into the session with this library command, and then it will load all these packages. Okay, so currently we have loaded all these packages with this single command. Okay, so these are different packages, and there are some important ones that I'll cover once, we'll move further with the course. But for now, for this graphical representation, we need ggplot. Okay, so ggplot is basically this gg here stands for grammar of graphics. Okay, so this is a term which is, mostly used with this R Studio thing. Okay, and what is the grammar of graphics? So in English language, we have a grammar. So grammar is some rules, some basic rules, which we use when we want to communicate in English. Okay, so with help of graphs, with help of data visualization, we are trying to communicate our results to others. Okay, so this type of communication will have some rules. Okay, there are some basic principles which will help you in communicating the result correctly. Okay, and efficiently, so that others are easily getting what you are trying to show them. Okay, so there are many components of this grammar graphic, just like grammar for a language. For this graphical grammar also, there are many components, but I will be focusing on three main components only. Okay, so those are the basic structure of graph that we'll be doing today. Okay, and once you understand that these three things are main things that you need to tell the software to make the graph, then it will become very easy for you to think on your own when you are making graph of any type of data. Okay, but yes, of course, the theoretical knowledge of this thing, that what type of graph to use and what type of graph you need to use with what type of data, is very much important. So in I guess in one of my class I told you that we use bar graph with categorical data, and then histogram for numerical data, and so we need to know that what type of data we have, okay, when we are doing the graphical thing. So mapping. Okay, so what is mapping? Mapping is basically telling the this software about the data. Okay, so like on x coordinate we want what, and on y we want what. These things are mapping. Okay, so we are trying to map this. You can say we are just trying to map this kind of Excel sheet with that software we code. Okay, and trying to convey that from this Excel sheet, pick this variable, put it on y-axis, and pick this variable, put it on x-axis, and so on. Okay, this was the first component. Second is aesthetics. So since it is graphical thing, okay, uh, since it is a graphical thing, so aesthetics are very much important for any graphical representation. Okay, so for a graph also, the aesthetics are the colors, the shape, how to make it visually appealing. That's the aesthetics for a graph also. So similar for any graphic, aesthetics is this thing, that the color, shape, and all this. Okay, then comes the uh, geometry. Okay, this is the third most important thing. So the mapping thing, that this on x-axis, this on y-axis, is common in all graphs. Whatever graph you are making, if you are making histogram, if you are making a scatter plot, box plot, bar graph, whatever, there is an x-axis, there is a y-axis always. Okay, so mapping is common to all graphs. Then comes the aesthetics. Again, for scatter plot, bar graph, all those plots, the color, the shapes of the bars, all those things matter. Okay, so these things are common for all the graphs. Then comes the geometry. Geometry is exactly what type of shape you are looking for. So you can say histogram is a geometry, scatter plot is a geometry, and bar graph is a geometry. So this is what you are conveying to the software when you are when I say geometry. Okay. Uh, so when I want to use ggplot, so there are these lines that I have to type. So the first thing you need to do is tell RStudio that I want to use ggplot. Okay, so it will start suggesting you, so you will get this. Okay, now comes the mapping thing. So for mapping, as I said, that we want to do that x-axis and y-axis. So first I'll tell R that what data I want to use. So I'll just write the data that I want to use. Okay, so I can just put tab here and just search for it. Oh, I don't know why I'm not getting that. Okay, let me just write the name. It's a small name, so it will just start suggesting. Okay, so then comma. Okay, so what I have done till now is I just told R that I want to use this data. I could have used the hurt one. Okay, so let's just do this one with the hurt. Okay, uh, I have this hurt data here. Okay, so put the comma. Okay, so comma is like it's telling me, okay, now this data thing, I just wanted to tell you what data I want to use. Now I have told you. Now the next thing that you have to do is mapping. Now you want to map the data. Okay, tell the x-axis and all those things. Okay, so in mapping, I will explain I will tell the aesthetics. Okay, so what is going to be on the x-axis, what is going to be on the y-axis. This I'll explain to the RStudio. Okay, so on x-axis, I'll just try and uh, so as I said that we have this hurt data, so R will be able to recognize this hurt document only. So I'll just put this uh, thing here. So okay, so this I have something cholesterol. Okay, and then that other variable which I want to map. Oh, okay, so do put a comma. So like in next, so when we talk about coordinates in graph, so we write it as x comma y. So that's the same thing that I'm doing right now. So the x I have explained, and comma I'll put the y data. Okay, so for y, I'll again do this thing hurt, and then this dollar sign, and cholesterol is the other thing that I want. Okay, so let me just run this code right now. Okay, so till now what I have done is I have done the mapping. I have given the aesthetics. So these two things which are common to all the graph, I have done those. Okay, till now. So I'll just run it and see what result I get. So here I have so you can see here, you can just press Control Shift 6 on your this keyboard, or then you can just do this full screen. Okay, so till now I have done the mapping thing. I have told x-axis, y-axis, and the aesthetic. Okay, in aesthetics we have more things, color, size, and all those things. So for now I'm not touching this. So uh, we have a blank graph sheet. Okay, so why we don't have a graph yet? Because I have not explained the geometry. So I have not told the RStudio what kind of graph I want. RStudio knows I want a graph using these x-axis and y-axis. So I have these things in x-axis and y-axis. Uh, but do not know what exactly the type of graph is. Okay, so for this, now the third thing that I explained you was the geometry. So now I want to add the geometry to this graph. So I'm using this plus sign. I'm adding the geometry to this current thing, this blank sheet. I want to add the geometry. So this plus sign is there. After that, since it's geometry, I'll type geom. So geom, geom is the short for this geometry. Okay. Now, once I have typed geom or something, if you have typed after this, obviously our studio will recognize what you are trying to do and it will start suggesting you things. Okay. So there is list of graphs that you can do with this. Okay. So geom point is what we are looking for. Since scatter plot is collection of points, if you have seen a scatter plot, so there are some points on graph. If you haven't seen, you will just see right now. So if I hit Control Enter and run that code, now I have these values and they are just in this form. I have done something wrong. My graph is wrong. Okay, so I have entered the same variables in x and y. See. Okay, so what I was supposed to do is I was supposed to do this. Okay, and then I'll put this Control Enter, and I have this scattered plot. Okay, so this is like truly scattered plot. Okay. Okay. So this is a scattered plot. Each point has those coordinates that we talked about. So every point have a corresponding x and y value with it, and those are called the coordinate that we just talked about. Okay, so this is a scatter plot. Okay, is this clear till now? The code, what I did, is it clear? The grammar of graphic, is this clear? Okay, okay.